All right, let's set some stuff down. Ding, ding, ding. We have a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. In my informal contest to win a trade point made by Jesse, our friend, who actually, I mentioned earlier, a member of the Kiowa and Apache tribes, and was the horse trainer for his tribe, training horses the Indian way, without the bridle and the stirrups and all that other stuff. They're not like, what you'd think of in modern day equestrian styles. The fella guessed it. I can add something to it though. Ten Bears was a Comanche war chief. Ten Bears was a Comanche war chief in Oklahoma territories in the epic movie The Outlaw Josie Wales, where they met each other and Ten Bears allowed Jesse's little group to live in their area where they would just take what they needed and they wouldn't mess with the Comanche. Comanche bows. I've got bows here. First of all, what is a Comanche bow? That could be another question. And it would be a trick question. It's like it's an unbacked Osage bow. Short, horse bow, yeah. Mm-hmm. But what were they like 1700s? What were they like in the early or the late 1600s when the Comanche became the Comanche? It's true. You have to consider space and time. Space, geographic, in time, what period? Because they were actually part of the eastern Shoshone in Wyoming. They were Shoshone. But then the Spaniards released these incredible animals, wild horses. They roamed around. People that were to become the Comanche learned the ways of the horse. And now suddenly they're stretching their wings and becoming the powerful nomadic tribe that we know them now to be. They called themselves the Namida. I'm losing my ability to speak. Went from Wyoming into Colorado where they met up with the Utes who called them Comanche. And that's where the name comes from. Kept moving southward. Had a falling out with the Utes. Moving southward. And then eventually winding up in Oklahoma and Texas and probably New Mexico and area. It was huge. Their area was so huge. It was like this big swath of North America that was called Comanche. Or Comanche. Words can trip me up here. And the irony is that I'm giving away an arrowhead made by an Apache gentleman. That didn't get along. They tussled with the Apache people and also the Navajo. They were rough group of people. Rough and tough. Yeah. Okay. Before I get into my projects today, let's say this dopey little thing. It's a good little bow, but look at that. It shows the scuffs of age. And I've been toying with the notion of either sending it to a custom bow maker. It's all sorts of chewed up because I've had it since I was a kid. A Kmart bow. But it is a nice bow without twisted limbs because I'm very careful when I do the step-through method. I have it on my foot so it's absolutely straight. And when I pull it to string it and unstring it, brace it and debrace it, everything is straight. So it's not twisted. But yeah, I'd like to get it refinished. I was watching a lot of Kramer's videos, Shatterproof Archery, and also Jack Fang of Historical Archery. But Kramer, who is a great experimenter, said that he's tested a whole bunch of different spray finishes on his urethanes and polyurethanes and stuff, and none of them ever crack. So that gives me hope that if I can gently sand it without removing the marks, I too can go to Ace Hardware and buy some spray finish, or order, I think it's called Max Spray or something like that on eBay. Projects. I've taken this little, and I'm safe to do it even though the rawhide is wet on here. It's a non-bending handle. And I don't think that the moisture from the leather, I'm using rawhide for the hand grip here. I don't think it's going to soak into the sinew layer. And even so, you know, it's not a heavy bow. It's a cool bow. It's a perfect bow. It's a neat little bow. That reminds me, you know, shooting styles. Talking to Jesse, from the hip, chest, not Mediterranean because he shoots short bows and he's got shorter draw length. I never hear too much on the YouTubes about how I do it with a short bow. Totally unanchored. More or less sighting down the arrow. You know, the whole instinctive or aiming kind of thing. I think that, you know, subconsciously you are aiming when you're shooting instinctively. Not going to get into that kettle of worms. But the factors that don't make it easy to do this, first of all, you don't have that support right here. You're free-flowing, so you have to really be conscious of your technique and also the release. And so on these short bows, when I'm doing this, I've curled my thumb around. It's not a pinch grip per se, but it's kind of, I don't even know what you call it. And so when I release, it's an even thing, so I'm not twisting it around. Exaggerating so you can see, but my thumb is engaged. You gotta practice your form. That's a really difficult way to shoot. And this one, I'm gonna coffee dye and smoke this so it darkens it. But yeah, I added a big project on this. It's adding those because I am going to have sinew wraps on the mid limbs. It's tillered. It's ready to go. My first video that I wound up deleting, I pulled it back to 65 pounds and it wasn't at its maximum draw. So this is a heavy bow. When you start getting into heavy bows, it's not going to hurt to reinforce keeping that sinew layer down. 2 thick layers, nice thick third layer through the handle. Rawhide goes to here. This side goes to here, so I've got 2 layers of rawhide over this, a spiral wrap of sinew underneath this, and then sinew right here. This is the #1 failure point of something like this would be if you didn't reinforce the handle, you have too much bend there, blah, blah, blah. Second one is the sinew, just from the sheer force of a heavy bow, trying to delaminate there, so I do this. In some instances on heavy sinew back bows of this type that I've had previously, a nice not really a wrap, let's just call it a wrap, nice X wrapping of backstrap sinew, nice long stuff, even between the middle limb and the handle. Just hold that sinew down because these things are so highly stressed. Yeah, this is turning out well. It's turning out well. What else? I better commence to cleaning the house some more. Did I mention this? I thought the Frontier cable guy was coming next Monday. I get this alert, he's going to be here today. And if I don't, I didn't tell my wife, she's going to be kind of upset because we're in the process of house cleaning, you know, right now, but it's got to be cleaner. Got to wash the cats, polish the spoons because somebody's coming into the house that doesn't live there. Know what I mean? So I have to break it to her. Ease the tension. I think I done covered everything. But yeah, if you want to continue this process of learning, research the history of the Comanche. You know, research the history of the Odawa. Research the history of the Utes. Anyone and everyone. It's fascinating, you know, when you get into the movement over time of various tribes, you know, and how they've then displaced another tribe, and then they move on. Space and time, my friends. Space and time.